There are moments when you think you're making your own decisions, but something feels slightly off, like your choice didn't come from clarity, but from pressure you didn't fully notice. That's often where reverse psychology lives. Not as something obvious, but as something subtle. A suggestion that isn't directly forcing you, just nudging you in a direction while making you believe it was your idea all along. Reverse psychology, at its core, is when influence is shaped through contradiction. When someone tells you not to do something, and a part of you suddenly feels more inclined to do it. Not because it's right for you, but because resistance activates curiosity, ego, or emotional reaction. And while that can sound harmless in small moments, it becomes more important when you realize something deeper. A lot of people are shaped by reactions, not decisions. Let that sit for a second. A lot of people are shaped by reactions, not decisions. Because this isn't just about psychology, it's about awareness. In everyday life, reverse psychology doesn't always look overwhelming. It can sound like, you probably wouldn't be able to handle this. I didn't think you were the type to try something like that. I guess it's fine if you don't care enough to do it. And suddenly, instead of asking yourself what you actually want, you start reacting to what was implied about you. And that shift matters. Because now the decision is no longer anchored in your intention. It's anchored in proving something, or resisting something, or correcting an assumption. And that is where people slowly drift away from themselves. Not in one moment, but in repeated small reactions that feel like a choice, but aren't fully conscious. But here's the part that changes everything. Understanding reverse psychology is not about becoming guarded or suspicious of everyone. It's about becoming aware of your own pause point. That split second where you ask, am I responding to myself or reacting to pressure? Because the moment you notice that gap, something changes. You're no longer fully automatic. You become present in your decision again. And presence is where anatomy begins. There is a quiet strength in people who stop reacting quickly. Not because they're slow, not because they are intentional. They don't need to prove themselves through contradiction. They don't need to resist every suggestion just to feel in control. And they don't need to accept every challenge just to validate their capability. They can simply ask, does this align with me? Not, what will this prove? Not, what will they think if I don't? Just, is this actually mine to choose? That question alone breaks a lot of invisible influence patterns. Because reverse psychology only works when you are disconnected from your own center for a moment. It depends on emotional reactivity, on identity pressure, on the need to respond instead of reflect. But when you slow that space down, when you insert even a small moment of awareness, the influence loses its grip. Not because you're resistant harder, but because you're thinking clearer. And this is where the real message begins. You don't need to live in opposition to the world to be in control of your life. You don't need to resist every suggestion to prove independence. And you don't need to constantly defend your decisions to make them valid. Real control is quieter than that. It's the ability to notice influence without letting it become identity. So if you've ever made choices and later thought, why did I even agree to that? Or why did I react like that? This isn't something to judge yourself for. It's something to understand. Because awareness is not about regret. It's about recognition. And recognition gives you a space to choose differently next time. You are not meant to live as a reaction. You are meant to live as a decision maker. And every time you pause long enough to reconnect with your own intention, you step slightly out of influence and slightly more into yourself. And that is the quiet power most people miss. Not controlling others, not resisting everything, but simply returning to yourself before you respond. Until your life starts reflecting choice instead of reaction. So if you've ever looked back at a decision and wondered, why did I say yes when I wanted to say no? Why did I react so quickly? Why did I feel the need to prove myself? Don't carry shame for that. Carry awareness. Because awareness changes everything. It teaches you that not every challenge deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your reaction. And not every invitation deserves your yes. Sometimes strength is not in how fast you respond. Sometimes strength is in how deeply you pause. In giving yourself enough space to ask, what do I truly want here? What feels honest to me? What choice will leave me at peace with myself? And the more you practice that pause, the stronger your inner voice becomes. The clearer your boundaries become. The safer you become within yourself. Because real power is not found in proving people wrong. It's found in knowing yourself well enough that you no longer need to. So if today you feel like you've been living in reaction, this is your reminder. You can slow down. You can reset. You can choose differently. And choosing differently does not make you weak. It makes you aware. It makes you intentional. And it makes you free. Your life does not have to be built on pressure. It can be built on peace. Together, let's move from doubt to power, one story at a time.